I think Binodini had lots to say, which world needs to see. Women from today's time, young kids who go to college and school should watch this film to get inspired. Because this is a story which hails from Bengal, from the heart of Bengal, from the bylanes and the lanes of Bengal. So, of course, that authenticity is something which will always be a speciality when a Bengali filmmaker makes it, like a Ram Kamal Mukherjee.
And how I have portrayed the film or I have conceived the film is keeping the entire young generation in mind. I think in today's generation, people should know about the history because that is what makes your base strong. And we all intend to kind of, look forward, and we all intend to kind of, be the Gen Z. But unless and until you know your roots, unless and until you know about your own culture or your own heritage or your own history, so to say, I don't think so. You're creating a base for yourself. Any generation needs a base, and Binodini is probably one of those stories which will probably help you in understanding what your base is, or what is integrity about, or what is on honesty about, what is sacrifice about. These are the basic values that we get to see in Ramayana and Mahabharata. But then Ramayana and Mahabharata also moves on to human life and how people, or thespians like Binodini Dasi, used that in reality in her own life, and there is a lot of learning from her life too. So these are the things which one needs to kind of know. But as you question that, how do you appeal to the newer generation? So it is the director's medium, and how I have portrayed the film or I have conceived the film is keeping the entire young generation in mind. So we have worked on the costume and the look and the feel and the music and the background score. Even we've cast faces who represent the younger generation. So that's how we've tried to balance it out between the younger generation, trying to tell a content which is a little heavier on the side, but yeah, keeping all the entertainment in place.
Sure. Fantastic. And another thing, I think it's very interesting. This is for open for everyone to answer. That despite being in the same domain of, as I mentioned, a lot of names were being thrown out, about, parallels with how Bhansali sir makes movies and, all that stuff. But my question is not about that. My question is that when you do something, something like this, a period drama, which on a scale that's not really, you don't have that scale, which a Bhansali does, and, otherwise so. But despite being with the limitation that you had, how do you make sure to not fall into tropes? Because when you make a film like this, it's very easy to fall into the tropes which usually appeal to the audience and they have the money to do so, right? In this case, you don't really have that, but you don't want to fall into the tropes while telling an authentic story. So how do you, manage to do that?
I believe this question is intended towards Ram all the more, but I would just like to say one thing that, of course, with a lot of authenticity, because this is a story which hails from Bengal, from the heart of Bengal, from the bylanes and the lanes of Bengal. So, of course, that authenticity is something which will always be a speciality when a Bengali filmmaker makes it, like a Ram Kamal Mukherjee. So, today, when we are premiering it nationally, of course, parallels are being drawn in alliance with Sanjay Leela Bhansali sir or Ashutosh Gwarikar sir. But also, if we kind of move a tad bit, towards the east, I think in Bengal, a very, very, very big celebrated director, Rituparna Ghosh, is somebody we have also paid a tribute to through this film, who was a master in periodic films. So, like I said, that I think that essence, that nuance, everything, the grandeur and the glitz and the glamour is all there, but the soul is very Bengal, and that I think only my Ram could make.
Anything you like to add to that, sir?
Yeah, I think she's answered it all because, of course, it's a huge honor to kind of get compared to Bhansali sir or Ashutosh sir. They are the ones who have created these kind of period drama for national audience, for Hindi language films. At the same time, I think Mughal Azam, Kamal Amrohi's Pakiza, Razia Sultan, we had these kind of cinema, and we have these references that even the great masters work on. And while working on Binodini, of course, we had Mughal Azam in our mind, Razia Sultan in mind, Meera in mind, Gulzar Sahab's Meera. So there were these movies which were a reference point to an extent, because they are the great masters, and we do get inspired by the great masters. And when you get compared to them, it itself is an honor. But as she said, that there are also talent out there in Bengal which we don't get to kind of see, and that's the reason why we are trying to get the pan Indian audience. So Rituparna Ghosh probably is one of those pioneers who kind of work with the best of the Bollywood talent, and still he retained the soul of Bengal. So that is what I guess she's trying to say.
True. Chandan, I'll come to you now. And this is actually for you and Rukmini both. We'll start with you. For you, the both of you, of course, with Ram sir as well. All of you have dabbled in the Hindi industry, Hindi Indian industry continuously. There have been, projects coming out here and there and all that, right? But I guess, of course, everyone has one intent that you want to make a good product for to entertain the audiences. But there are differences. There are differences in the industries you work with, not necessarily just financially, but otherwise as well. So, what do you believe is the one thing that the Hindi entertainment industry can learn from the Bengali entertainment industry?
I think I think dignity of labor is something we who make films here can learn from Bengali films. I've not worked in say Malayalam films or Telugu Tamil. I can talk about films in Bengali. Uh, I always have considered Bengali films whenever I go. Somehow my I've ended up doing one film a year
Hmm.
in Bengali. It has been somehow it's worked out like that. The universe, and I always sort of take them almost like a holiday because I'll tell you a small little
Please,
story
please, please
how
go
it
ahead.
actually happens. Because when you're doing a Bangla film, somehow everybody knows everybody on the set.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice.
Somehow
True.
this Mashi, and I'm an outsider. Like when I'm
Hmm.
coming from there and going there to
Yeah,
do a film, then somebody is a Pishi, Mashi, Dada, Didi, है chal raha hai. And they all sort of have known each other for some 40 years, 50 years, 10 years, 3
right.
years, 18 years.
And if you push a manager into a Bengali space, you've got a manager to talk to me. They're
Yeah.
so emotional.
Yeah,
In Bombay, I'm sorry to cut you in Bombay, whenever you come, and the first thing they ask you, who's your manager?
correct.
And in Kolkata, the instant you say, okay, meet my manager, they literally take
They feel
offense.
offended.
Yeah, because they're like, you're mine. That sense of belonging
Right.
is just something else. So yeah, I think that's, yeah, Chandan, your
Super.
story. Sorry.
Yeah. So like that. So they are talking. So then, and they're shooting in the afternoon. They just break for lunch. They're talking about dinner. Then you break for dinner. They're talking about whenever. So and they all eat together,
Yeah,
and they all have the same food. It all
nice.
tastes the same. It's not
Awesome.
like I am so and so, so I'll get my food from Taj Bengal, or
Right.
somebody's going to eat food from. It's not like that. The food on set is as tasty. I have the most tastiest, yummiest food I've ever had
Sure.
is on a Bengali movie set, and I think food makes films because, and everybody's having the same taste. So the sense of camaraderie comes from there.
Mm,
And they're like, but when you're on a other film set, like in a Hindi film set, there are like hundreds of people and they don't know each other. They don't know what they're doing. They're just running around aimlessly to get a scene right, light
right.
a scene. A lot of hierarchy. It's not there, and it's like a sweet, sweet. It's an experience.
Yeah.
वो बोलते हैं ना इनक्रेडिबल इंडिया में हमारे देश
Hmm.
में आइए तब पता चलेगा.
Correct.
तो आप बंगला फिल्म में करके देखिए, आपको
Awesome.
पता चलेगा कि उसका
I
स्वाद
think
क्या
that
है.
was the most beautiful answer
Awesome.
I've heard.
Awesome.
I
So
really
good.
So that's why I always go back to connect with my roots and from art and as an artist. Yeah.
Sure.
Your
And
your turn.
please go ahead.
I don't know how to beat that. I really don't know. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's so beautiful. It's heartfelt, and I think that is what lies in the heart of Bengal. That everything is heartfelt. Even when you're angry, it's heartfelt. Even when you're embracing them, it's heartfelt. And also, there's one thing I remember when I was doing Sanak with Chandan, where he was holding a gun to my head.
I remember.
And I remember everybody back in Bengal would ask me that, what is that one difference? What is that one difference? And I've always told them that, Bengal really prepares you for the best and the worst. So anyone uh, from, say, Bengal can work, once you work in Bengal, you're well equipped to work all over the world. But anybody who's worked all over the world, I don't think you can work in Bengal unless you're from Bengal.
Can I say
Fabulous.
something on that?
Please,
Yeah.
please.
So Recently, I was watching this beautiful interview Shabana ji was giving on
Ji.
some podcast or something,
Yes.
and she was talking about her experience on City of Joy
Right.
with Patrick Swayze, and she was
Yes.
talking about the yeah movie making culture in Kolkata.
Right.
And there's all these people from Hollywood were there, and there was supposed to be a scene. They were shooting in the exterior, and they needed like rain machine, and
Mm-hmm.
and so Hollywood the whole machinery comes into the force, and they figure out the
Yeah.
whole theory of relativity and this and that. The water will come at this force, and this is the pressure, the and the pipe of this will be coming from here and there, and they'll figure out the whole municipality and everything, and then
Yeah.
the water dried out. There was no water. So the rain machine is not working, and they were like, "Oh man, what do we do? What do we do, man?" And Roland, Patrick Swayze has to go back to Hollywood. What do we do? And some Bengalis were there on set,
Yeah.
local boys. So he said, "দাদা কি হলো ওটা কি জল ফল আসছে না কি হয়েছে?" বলে হ্যাঁ তো somebody from the production said, "শালা জল আসছে না." And Patrick Swayze, Hollywood star, has to go back.
Correct.
বলে দাঁড়ান. So they figured out a way to create a rain machine with
Awesome.
local mechanics and all that, and they were awestruck. The white people were awestruck.
Jugaad originated in Bangla.
Ha.
I know, right? Yeah.
And then there was one scene, and this is all about, she's talking about Bengali film. Since you asked, I'm telling
Correct.
you as
No,
an
no,
experience what
fabulous.
happens there. People should know. She was doing a scene, Shabana ji, when she was playing a pregnant lady, and she had to. Apparently, they had to. I don't remember. They had to show that there is movement on the stomach,
Right.
prosthetic wise.
Yeah, yeah.
So there was this one guy, and they were like, white people were figuring again what to do, what to do. Then again they figured out something, and that whole film, City of Joy, she said, was this whole how Hollywood and Tollywood came together,
Mm.
like the whole system of Hollywood where everything is paperwork and probably articulately done, and then there are all these people who can figure out.
Right.
So that you should watch that podcast because they show that how Hollywood and Bengali film culture came together to make this beautiful film.
Not like I don't know it now.
City of Joy is a film that I paid tribute to my Rickshawala, which is my first Bengali short film.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a tribute to Om Puri and Roland Joff. And yeah, the Rickshawala is because Do Bigha Zameen and City of Joy are the two films which are made on the hand pulley rickshaw of Calcutta Stories. So when yeah, and that was Bumada had presented the film, and that film went on to 56 film festival and won 21 international awards. So yeah, so that was because she's talking about City of Joy and Calcutta. So yeah, Rickshawala was a tribute to Roland Joff and Om Puri.
We'll be fascinated by the way we literally move mountains back in Bengal, and we do it with Elan. Yeah.
I think if we take best of the both worlds, like Bengali cinema needs more like capital,
Yeah.
and here we need the work culture. So if these two forces come together, then why not?
Oh, I have a really funny anecdote. Okay,
Please.
so see, right now we're actors and
asked the wrong
yeah, it's a
question. I
wrong
love
question.
it.
Yeah, this
No,
is
but
this
I
is
love
a very
it.
this is the
Please, that's
this
okay.
is a Bangla podcast right now. This is a Joy Bangla podcast.
No, but we love it.
But see, this is an actor's point of view. This is a director's point of view. There was a point of view. There was this person. He used to help me on set. Bappa Bole. His name was Bappa. He was from Calcutta. He has worked with me on many films, and he was traveling with me when I was shooting Sanak in Bombay. He was stationed with me for about 1.5-2 years here in Bombay with me, and I remember there was this one particular scene where we were in an elevator. Vidyut and I were in an elevator. I'm on the stretcher, and वो ना वहाँ से निकल के ऐसे यू टर्न करके मैं मतलब इस डोर से निकल के एलिवेटर से निकल के मैं ऐसे घूम के एक और दरवाजे में ओटी में घुस रही हूँ. दैट्स द शॉट. सिंपल क्लीन लाइक गोइंग इन देयर इज अ कन्वर्सेशन इनसाइड द एलिवेटर जाता है फिर उस तरफ चले जाता है. दैट्स इट. सो वी शॉट दिस वी स्टार्टेड एट 9:30 sharp and we wrapped this scene at say around 6 o'clock in the evening. पूरा सीन हो गया ये वो blah 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 blah. It's just a conversation in the elevator goes a little conversation when I turn and then I enter and that's it. सब कुछ हो गया. To Bappa's utter despair, he tells me, दीदी हजरा ये तो मैं ही कलकत्ता में 15 मिनट में सल्टा डालता. इतना क्या था? I was like, ये क्या हो रहा है? I was like, so it's fascinating for
Right.
someone like a Bappa to understand that why is it happening? Like how? Like he can't wait. It's like itne mein to half the picture we would have done. So speaking of that, there's this one movie I had done called Kabir. It's on OTT, and we've actually shot that film in 57 hours. It's a full-length feature film.
One is on the train.
Yes, on the train. So, say 70% of the film is on a train, and we actually booked two bogies from Bombay to Kolkata because the conversation is from Mumbai and they end up in Kolkata, and the movie finishes. And everything, say like a 70-page script, we knew it by heart, and we shot it real time, and that's the film. And
Awesome.
when I've told people, they said this has really happened.
Yeah.
I said, say 20% is montage, which we've shot in 3-4 days outside, which is barely 20% of the film. But 80% of the film is shot in 57 hours straight, without any sleep. The entire team didn't sleep for 57 hours straight. So that's Bangla for you.
It is fabulous, and I mean, I really wish that I love it that the one question led to, like as you mentioned, a Bangla podcast, and I think that's
we're all sitting like this now.
and that is so
All
good,
now.
because that's exactly.
बोलो क्या चाहिए?
उसमें पूछने वाले का भी रहता है ना कि आपको ऐसे लग रहा है आपको देख के कि आप सुनना चाहते हैं तो कुछ
बिल्कुल
बोलो.
सर.
नहीं तो जनरली होता है आप
Thank
पूछे
you.
तो आप कुछ बोल के आप आगे बढ़ देते
नहीं
हैं.
नहीं बिल्कुल नहीं
लेकिन
सर.
आपको देख के लग रहा है आप जरूर कुछ
These are the kind of stories you always want to hear, that the real camaraderie, because which goes beyond the screen. And unfortunately, we are short of time, but I will make sure that the idea of Binodini, the appeal of Binodini reaches everyone. So just to quickly round it up, please give one message to everyone to make sure that Binodini is watched by more and more people.
Binodini, as we say that it is not a film, it's a movement. I just take this word from her because you often from her because you make a lot of movies. We'd all make movies. We'll act in movies. I'll direct movies, etc. But this kind of a film comes once in 100 years, and this was being. I mean, this had to be told, and we were all waiting for it to be kind of come into being. And so now that we've made this film, with all honesty, we would want the audience also to kind of come forth and watch and encourage us in telling more stories which are hidden somewhere, which we fail to kind of tell for many reasons. But we've tried, we've achieved it. All we need is a little more appreciation and little more support from the audience. That's it. And then I guess the path would be little more easier also.
Please, like any
Director
message
साहब बोल
finally.
दिए, हाँ.
हाँ मतलब बहुत अच्छे से बोल दिया.
Director has the last word, always.
Yeah, he's transported there, right?
Coming back to the point, I think Binodini had lots to say, which world needs to see. A woman from today's time, young kids who go to college and school should watch this film to get inspired and be like them, and like what she could do in 19th century with nothing in her hand, coming from nowhere, with no support, and she fought the system, the caste system, the men, the everything, which was and now we have everything, but still I think there's a lot to needs to be changed about women. We need to, so every woman is a film about women empowerment, and everybody should watch it and feel empowered, so that you know, and especially men should watch it. Men should watch it.
Sure.
They should know how to treat a woman and what to do.
Absolutely. And finally, the final word from the lady herself.
All I'd like to say is that we have a Binodini in each and every one of us. Not only a woman, but also every man. Because at the end of the day, the universal feeling of just surviving for our existence, of struggling to get our respect and our right, I think that is a dream and a feeling that we all share mutually across all genders. So I would just like to say that it's time to be for Binodini. So please go watch Binodini at theatres near you. And I would like to finish this in Bangla, which I've also said back in Bangla, that please, Binodini is now releasing nationally from the 31st of January. It's already running successfully in Bengal. And I would just like to say is that please come to theatres. Binodini ke bhalobashben, আর আপনাদের রুক্মিণীকে আশীর্বাদ করবেন। থ্যাংক ইউ।
I have a question. One
Yes.
question for Binodini. Is it releasing in America, Canada, Africa,
I hope
Australia,
so. I hope so because we
Europe? Is
because
it?
we, because I'm getting a lot of mails so that we
Yeah.
release it
So make sure it happens.
internationally.
People in America and Canada, because they should also watch it.
Yes, I think it will cross a lot of borders.
It will
It will travel boundaries. Thank you.
Fabulous. Thank you so much, guys. It was such a pleasant
It was
conversation.
lovely.
Thank you,
Thank
thank
you.
you, thank you, thank you, thank
Thank
you
you,
for the
thank you
lovely
so much.
questions and taking us back to Bengal. Thanks.
Thank you so much and all the best.